Okay, this video is about what it's like, just one moment in time of what it's like to have a senior in the house, kind of getting ready to graduate. I've been looking for resources this year on how do I have a really good senior year with my son and how to be really intentional, and they're really hard to find. And I think it's because things like this coming story that I'm going to tell you happen, and we kind of don't out that. So I'm going to out a story, and my hope is that it would encourage you if you have, a senior in high school and you have crazy stories, or you have other years in high school that you just want to know what are you looking forward to for senior year and kind of how to navigate those younger years to be able to position yourself and be ready for senior year. So that's my heart behind this. Okay, so sometime several months ago, I was pulling out of the driveway at night, and my son had a friend over, and I actually hit her car. So I did damage to her car and my car, so ultimately my car was in the shop for 10 days. And if you've never, as a mom of a teenage driver, hit a friend's car, then you could probably judge me for that. But I think there's probably a few of us out there who have done this. I hope there is anyway. And long story short, my car got in the shop. So I was driving my son to school for several mornings with his car. So one morning on the way to school, he said, "Oh, so I would like to go to a concert with my friend in a couple weeks." And I said, "Okay, are you going to the Coliseum? Are you where are you going?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Oh." So he said it's kind of a smaller venue. And I said, "Oh, like a club." He's like, "No, it's not a club." I said, "Okay, so like a auditorium." And he said, "No, not an auditorium. I think it's called Label." And I said, "Oh, so it's a club." And he said, "No, I don't think so." I said, "So at Label, they have like assigned seats with numbers on them?" And he's like, "No, I don't think that." I said, "It's a club." "Okay, so you want to go to a club?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, and what's the concert? Like, who's the group? Because I've heard of a lot of people. I could have this conversation." And he said, "DJ Tiger Lily." And I said, "Oh, he's a DJ." And he said, "Well, he's a she." And I said, "Okay, and you want to go to this club to go see a DJ?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "So I know that I'm driving you to school because my car's in the shop because I hit your friend's car, but I have to not finish this conversation. Can I just take this in and we'll talk about it after school?" And he said yes. So we both just took a little space and had a little oxygen, and he came home and showed me DJ Tiger Lily because he just fessed up, and he said, "Here's the deal. It is a club, and my friend and I just want to go see her because she's hot." And I said, "Okay, so let me see her." So I wanted to see what she looks like, just to know where we're heading. And she has blue hair. And DJ Tiger Lily, I'm sure you're a lovely girl, very talented with music, no doubt. And you are really pretty, so I'm glad. I'm glad that ultimately I ended up saying yes to this with these restrictions. So the restrictions were he could stay about an hour and a half, and then he had to come home. So the reason, so I know there's a lot of moms saying, "Oh my gosh, you let your kid go to a club." Here's the deal. He just got inducted into National Honor Society. He has never broken my trust ever. And if he did on this one, then there's going to be consequences, which he knows. And at some point, he's going to go to clubs because he's a senior and it's the spring, and he's going to go to college or he's going to be on his own in a few months. So I would love for the whole club thing to happen while he's under my roof and under my care. So but having full-blown trust in him, I said, yes, go. And the night came. Okay, so let me just put it this way. So the weekend before he got to go to Label, there was actually a Super Bowl. And because we live in North Carolina and the Charlotte Panthers were in the Super Bowl, I actually took him to a sports bar to go see the game. And so, like, the fact that he's going to a club the next week is like, okay. So he was with me in the sports bar. I didn't drink, he didn't drink, but because we took a table and shared with some other people, I brought them around. It's okay. He needs to know what is life like in a bar. I would be too naive to think he would never go in a bar. So I didn't realize that was the only time he was ever in a bar. He's like, hey, this is my first time. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. So we're moving into this whole adult thing, and apparently I'm ushering him in. And I think I just wanted to out that because I think as moms, we just want to stay protective, and we want to stay like, oh no, don't do this, which forces our kids kind of to do things underground and behind our backs and to be secretive. And it's way easier to do this with some restrictions and with some trust. And so here's what happened. So the night came where he got to go see DJ Tiger Lily. And I thought, and he thought, that she would be on around 10, and then he could be home by 1:15. So he was supposed to leave around, I think it was like 11:15 or 11:30, something like this. And around that time, he texted me and said, I will leave, but she doesn't come on till 12. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is now. So we live almost 2 hours from Charlotte. And I just thought, all right, so how do you make this kind of call, right? And this is why I'm making this video, because we have to make these weird calls. I know we always have to make weird calls, but senior year, the calls are just tougher and weirder. And so I was able to talk to him on the phone. He stopped everything that he was, wherever he was, and he could talk to me. And we just made an agreement. And I said, let me just double check. Are you drinking? He's like, no, not at all. Because I've marked my hands, 2 X's on both hands, and I'm not allowed in a certain section where there's alcohol. And I'm like, okay. And I said, what time does she come on? And so definitely 12 o'clock. And I figured he should be there about an hour and a half and just go have some fun. So hour and a half, if he could leave around 1:30 and just get a hotel, then we would be straight. So he and his buddy got a hotel in Charlotte and were able to enjoy some time there. He texted me around 1:32 and said, we're good, we're safe, we're in a hotel, here's the hotel we're in. So, and of course, I did not pay for the hotel. I did not pay for the concert. This is all on him. So there is a level of responsibility that I'm really actually very proud of him for pulling off and doing. This is all adult stuff. So I know, again, that a lot of these things are controversial, but we all have to make these calls, and we have to be able to have relationships with our kids to where we know how to trust them, and we know what our rules and expectations are, so that we can all be very clear and kind of usher them forward. So thanks for watching. I hope it helps.